Russia, the majestic and mysterious land of the birch trees, is not only famous for its stunning architecture but also filled with countless strange things that leave the world in awe. It's a country where beautiful women outnumber men, turning Russia into a paradise for those looking for their soulmate. But that's not all. This country also sparks curiosity with bizarre bans like banning lace underwear to protect public health, its deep-rooted warrior spirit in history marked by great conquests, and even a hidden world of modern-day slavery that has shocked the world. Let's explore 15 of the weirdest things about the land of the white birch, a land where the icy cold outside can't cover up the shocking and surprising things happening within. Are you ready to step into this colorful, fascinating, and equally challenging world? Number 15. Beautiful single women looking for men. Russia, the land of mysterious wonders and shocking truths. Did you know that in this country the number of women has surpassed that of men to an extent that is unimaginable? Yes, gender imbalance in Russia has reached alarming levels. For every 1,000 men, there are 1,250 women. And the scary part? This imbalance is expected to continue, even grow, in the coming years. It is predicted that by 2026, the number of women over 18 will be 1.5 times that of men in the same age group. This is a frightening reality that not everyone knows about this country. This disparity makes Russian women a rare object in the longing of men from all over the world. Millions of Russian women are yearning to look for love from other countries, and the tendency of international marriages with Russian brides are becoming increasingly popular. Why is that? Not only because of their mesmerizing, enchanting beauty, but Russian women also possess sharp intellect and sophisticated qualities that few countries can match. They are women who are both strong and gentle, smart and warm. With just one glance, one dazzling smile, they can make any man's heart melt. But behind this beauty lies an emotionally rich soul. Russian women make ideal life partners, always ready to care for and sacrifice for their families. They are not just beautiful and strong women, but also thoughtful mothers who know how to keep the flame of love alive in their homes. That's why it's no surprise that millions of men around the world are looking for love with Russian women who are not only stunning but also the perfect model for family life. So if you've never considered seeking a Russian wife, now might be the perfect time to discover the secrets of a country that stands out, not just for its beauty, but also for its strange, untold stories. Number 14. Banning lace underwear. A strange mystery, an unimaginable law that could only happen in Russia. In 2013, Russia, Belarus, and Kazakhstan came together to pass an outlandish law banning lace underwear, something no one would ever think could happen in the 21st century. This law mandates that all clothing directly touching the body must contain at least 6% cotton. If you think this is just a waste of time, you're completely wrong. Behind this decision lies a battle over health, politics, and even culture. The official explanation for banning lace underwear is to protect public health. Cotton is considered safer, helping with ventilation and reducing the risk of allergies or infections. But behind this reason, could it also be a subtle political strategy to limit the influence of Western culture in Russia? The story gets more complicated as many believe that this law is really a move to protect the domestic textile industry, encouraging people to buy local products instead of lace underwear imported from the West. However, what Russian women truly feel is anger and dissatisfaction. The seductive, expensive lace underwear, loved for so long, is now considered illegal. This makes them feel deprived of their personal freedom, restricted in expressing themselves. No matter what the reason behind this law is, it has sparked a strong wave of opposition in Russian society. Number 13. A warlike country. Russia is not only a vast country in terms of territory but also a symbol of an unyielding spirit of conquest. Once owning a territory of 25 million square kilometers, larger than any empire in modern history, Russia stands as a living testament to military power and boundless ambition. However, what makes Russia truly special is not just its grand wars, but the deeply ingrained warrior spirit that permeates all aspects of life, from politics and culture to daily thinking. Russians don't just fight on the battlefield, they also engage in debates, which is seen as a battle of minds for them. A conversation is not merely an exchange of ideas, but a place to demonstrate sharpness, creativity, and uncompromising reasoning. Therefore, when facing a Russian, you'll feel their determination and decisiveness, as each idea is fiercely defended, whether it's about politics, art, or philosophy. However, this warrior spirit is not only a strength but also a barrier. Russians sometimes find it hard to accept compromise or change, especially when it comes to embracing new technologies. Data shows that only 24% of elderly Russians use computers, compared to 55% in the UK and 67% in the UK and 67% in the US. This reflects a certain conservatism in habits and thought processes, the flip side of their inherently tough character. Despite this, it is undeniable that this warlike character has helped Russia leave a profound mark in history and on the world map. From legendary victories in wars to resilience in political and economic confrontations, Russians have always been symbols of persistence and defiance. Number 12. The underground world of slavery in Russia. Russia is not only famous for its vastness and powerful history, but also for hiding dark secrets that few could imagine. A recent report revealed that Russia has become a hub, a transit point, and even a source for a massive modern-day slave network where millions of women are deceived and forced into lives of pain and suffering. Human trafficking in Russia is not just a simple crime, it is a thriving dark industry where young girls are lured with promises of high-paying jobs only to fall into the hands of traffickers and end up in brothels across the country. 1/3 of women who grew up in orphanages in Russia end up enslaved within a year of entering adulthood. This is a tragedy that few dare to acknowledge openly. The victims of this industry are not only Russian women, but also women from countries such as Ukraine, Moldova, the Baltic states, and China. These girls are deceived and thrust into horrific hellholes, forced to work jobs they never wanted. Human trafficking is not just a serious social issue, it is a warning about lives trapped in unbearable hardship with no escape. The sad reality is that while society may continue to spin in its everyday routine, this underground world continues to thrive, holding the fate of millions of innocent people. Number 11. Control over internet use. Imagine a world where every piece of news, every article, and every social media post must pass through a power filter before reaching the public. This is the reality in Russia today, where the internet is no longer a space for freedom, but has become a heavily controlled domain serving the political and power interests of the government. Starting with shocking decisions like blocking Facebook, Instagram, and a number of Western platforms amidst the Ukraine crisis, Russia has gradually built a massive firewall, pushing its citizens into a restricted online world shaped by what the government allows. No more familiar Google or YouTube. Russians now rely on VKontakte VK and Yandex, local platforms that are closely monitored. VK currently boasts over 70 million daily users, making it the #1 social network in Russia. But behind this growth lies the shadow of censorship and manipulation. President Putin and his government have implemented heavy-handed measures such as nationalizing Yandex, controlling data flowing in and out of the country, and blocking VPN usage, the only window through which citizens could access information from outside. The Russian internet now resembles an isolated fortress, where all information is controlled and any dissenting voices are silenced. The implications of this go beyond the technological realm. Russians are facing the risk of losing their freedom of speech, becoming isolated from a multifaceted world of information, and living under unprecedented levels of surveillance. This is not just the story of one country, but a serious warning about the global state of information freedom. Number 10. The mystery of National Procreation Day. Imagine a national holiday not meant for fun, partying, or entertainment, but for having babies. Yes, in Russia, September 12th is celebrated as National Procreation Day, a quirky yet bold initiative aimed at addressing the country's population crisis. This unique idea originated from the governor of Ulyanovsky region, Sergei Morozov. Faced with a sharp decline in birth rates, he made September 12th an official holiday to encourage couples to dedicate the day to increasing the population. But what's truly shocking is the incredibly attractive reward system. If a baby is born exactly on Russia's National Day, June 12th, the following year, parents not only receive congratulations but also stand the chance to win valuable prizes such as cars, refrigerators, and even cash. This initiative has exceeded expectations in terms of success. Every June, the birth rate in Ulyanovsky skyrockets, providing clear evidence of the baby-making incentive effect. What began as a peculiar cultural holiday has become an innovative attempt to revive Russia's population. What do you think of such a holiday? Could it work elsewhere? Let's continue exploring more fascinating stories from Russia in our next journey. Number 9. The Russian Mafia, the terrifying global underworld empire. Behind the shadows of the criminal underworld, a dark power has been manipulating every corner of society. The Russian Mafia, a powerful and mysterious empire. With more than 300,000 members, the Russian Mafia is not just a criminal organization, it is a colossal power structure that stretches across 50 countries, influencing the global economy and challenging the mightiest nations on Earth. You may have heard of the Italian mafia, but the Russian mafia is the true lord of all underground forces worldwide. The vast fortune and influence of the Russian mafia make even the most powerful countries tremble. They control nearly the entire drug market in the UK, handling 70% of the illegal drug supply, causing millions of people to spiral into a destructive cycle of life. But that's just a small part of their operations. The Russian mafia doesn't only deal in drugs and weapons, they control black market finance and even nuclear materials. There's no area they don't infiltrate, making them a terrifying financial force that manipulates the global economy from the shadows. The Russian mafia is particularly notorious for the Solntsevskaya Bratva, the largest and wealthiest criminal organization in the world. With a sophisticated hierarchical power system, they possess enormous wealth and continuously expand their influence from Europe to Asia and from America to Africa. From manipulating the arms market to running international criminal activities, everything is in their control. Assassinations and car bombings are the methods they use to maintain power, instilling fear not only within the country but across the globe. Number 8. Alaska, USA was once part of the Russian Empire. You probably never thought that the vast, rugged, and remote land of Alaska was once a part of the mighty Russian Empire, before it became a bargain. For the United States, Alaska was one of Russia's prized possessions, symbolizing the power and dominance of the Russian Empire on the west coast of North America. But the story of how this ownership changed is filled with secrets and surprising discoveries few people know. In the 19th century, Alaska was not just a distant land, but also a bustling center of trade. The Russians made a huge profit from this region, particularly from exploiting its marine life, especially seals. However, by 1867, as the Russian Empire was weakening, they decided to sell Alaska to the United States. On March 30th, 1867, Russia signed the deal, selling the vast territory to America for just $7, $2 million, an unbelievably low price, equating to only around $4.74 per square kilometer. People ridiculed the deal, calling it Seward's folly after U.S. Secretary of State William H. Seward, who was behind the purchase. But as history proved, that ridiculously cheap price turned out to be a massive bargain. 50 years later, the U.S. made 100 times the amount they paid thanks to the mining, gold, and natural resources in Alaska. Today, Alaska is not only the largest state in the U.S., but also holds many untold mysteries, towering mountain ranges, massive glaciers, and unique native cultures. Alaska is a clear example of one of the strangest historical deals where the Russian Empire traded a natural treasure only for the United States to later emerge as an economic and strategic superpower. Number 7. Oymyakon, the coldest village worldwide. If you think you've experienced extreme cold, prepare yourself for an unimaginable challenge in Oymyakon, the coldest village on Earth. This is not a place for the faint-hearted, but a kingdom of ice, where even your breath turns to mist. Located deep in Siberia, Oymyakon frightens anyone who encounters the brutal force of nature. Temperatures once dropped to a shocking -67.7°C in 1933, earning Oymyakon a spot in the world record books as a perpetually frozen land. Although its name may sound like a joke, Oymyakon means water that does not freeze. It is, in fact, a magical place with a rare hot spring amidst endless ice and snow. In winter, the sun barely rises for only 3 hours a day, while the freezing darkness stretches for 21 hours, enveloping the village in a terrifying silence. Despite living under such harsh conditions, the people of Oymyakon lead a surprisingly healthy lifestyle, mainly eating reindeer meat, fish, and local vegetables, which contributes to a longer life expectancy than the global average. What's special is that the air here is exceptionally clean, and the water is among the purest on Earth. The Yakut people of Oymyakon have courageously adapted to this extreme environment, creating a strong and resilient community. Despite the harsh climate, Oymyakon still attracts daring tourists seeking the ultimate cold experience, engaging in unique activities such as dog sledding, ice fishing, and even bathing in hot springs amid the snowy landscape. Oymyakon is a place not for the weak-hearted, but the perfect destination to explore life and humanity's extraordinary strength when faced with the harshest nature. Number 6. Beard tax. In world history, there are few taxes as strange and unbelievable as the beard tax imposed by Peter the Great in Russia. If you think only modern gentlemen pay taxes on luxury items, imagine living in the 16th century, where owning a masculine beard could cost you a significant amount of money, a measure that might leave you in shock. This story began when Peter the Great ascended to the throne after his journey through Europe, seeking to expand his vision and reform his country. After observing Western countries, where beards were no longer symbols of sophistication, he decided that the long, messy beards of Russians made them look rough and outdated. In order to modernize the country's appearance, Peter introduced a bizarre reformer tax on those who kept their beards. The tax rate varied depending on social class, with wealthy men required to pay an enormous sum, while the poor were forced to shave their beards to lighten their financial burden. Enforcing this tax was strict, with police officers authorized to shave anyone who refused to comply, regardless of their objections. The sight of men being dragged out and roughly shaved became a haunting image in society at the time. Although the beard tax was part of Peter the Great's cultural revolution to modernize Russia, the policy sparked deep resentment, especially among religiously devout individuals and those who valued tradition. Eventually, when Peter passed away, the beard tax was abolished, but the tale of this strange tax is still remembered as an example of ambitious reforms, though not always well accepted by the people. Number 5. Russians and their superstitions. In the shadows of ancient customs, Russians continue to maintain a strong belief in the mystical and superstitious, which not only influences their spiritual lives, but also profoundly impacts their behavior. These seemingly irrational beliefs contain unique cultural elements that few fully understand, and behind them lies an entire mysterious supernatural world that the people of the land of the white birch revere. The cuckoo, a bird with a strange legend, is believed to be a messenger signaling longevity. The bird's song is not just sound, it's a sign of how many more years of life someone will have. You might shudder when you learn that each cuckoo's call is considered by Russians to be a life-preserving forecast, a message from the other side. The black cat, a symbol of bad luck, brings ominous omens. It's not an unfamiliar image, but in Slavic culture, a black cat is an unavoidable sign of misfortune. Simply encountering one on the road can make many people anxious and fearful of impending misfortune. However, not all signs are bad. Bird droppings falling on someone is seen as a sign of good luck, signaling prosperity is on the way. This often leaves people who experience it surprised and delighted. But if you see an empty bottle placed on a table, don't rejoice, as it's considered a sign of financial loss, a situation no one desires in life. You might be surprised to know that whistling indoors is also a taboo, as Russians believe it will attract evil spirits, bringing misfortune to the family. And if someone gifts you a knife or a watch, be cautious. It's an omen of separation, suggesting that conflict might arise in your relationship. Russians are also extremely superstitious about moving things across a doorway, as they believe it will bring misfortune to both the giver and the receiver. These superstitions are not just trivial customs, but an essential part of Russian life and spirit, where the supernatural is ever present and deeply influences all actions. Number 4. Prohibition of swearing in public. Imagine a world where every curse word or crude remark could make you hurt your wallet in an instant. That's the reality if you accidentally swear in public in Russia, where the government has enforced strict penalties to maintain a civilized and polite society. This law isn't just about ethics, it reflects a deeper strategy aimed at preserving the traditional values and culture of this vast nation. Since July 2014, Russia officially banned the use of obscene language at cultural events, in cinemas, and even on social media. It's a bold step toward controlling and safeguarding social norms, aiming to create a healthier public space. If you happen to swear, you could face a fine of up to 2,500 rubles, about 40 USD, while organizations or companies that violate the law may be fined as much as 50,000 rubles, about 700 USD. The penalties don't stop at just monetary fines. Violators also face harsh criticism from the local community. The judgmental stares and condemnation for unrefined behavior can become a nightmare that's hard to escape. The Russian government not only wants to ensure politeness in communication, but also protect younger generations from the negative impact of a culture of swearing. While some may view this as an overly strict law, behind it lies a desire to build a healthy, civilized communication environment. In Russia, maintaining manners is not just a requirement, but an integral part of their cultural way of life. Number 3. The gender transition ban. One of the most controversial legal decisions in modern Russian history was President Vladimir Putin's signing of the gender transition ban law in 2023, which left many people stunned. In a country with a turbulent history, where social values and traditions are strictly protected, this decision not only caused a storm in public opinion, but also painted a clear picture of the rising conservatism in Russia. The gender transition ban law does not just halt the recognition and implementation of gender transitions, but it also changes the entire gender identification system on official documents. This decision closed an important chapter in the transgender history of Russia, as those who had undergone gender transition could no longer change their information on official documents, except in special cases related to congenital defects. Russia not only maintains a firm stance on transgender issues, but also continues to uphold a strict legal regime against the LGBT community. Since 1993, gender-same relationships have been considered a criminal act, and until 1999, it was even classified as a mental illness. Although there has been some shift in perception among a small segment of the population, support for gender-same relationships remains low at only around 5%, while nearly 40% of Russians believe that LGBTQ individuals should be isolated or coerced into making commitments. With the LGBT propaganda law passed in 2022 and followed by the gender transition ban in 2023, Russia continues to assert its position in a world divided by debates over human rights and individual freedom. These decisions are not just legal issues but reflect deep controversies regarding personal freedom and acceptance of differences in modern society. Number 2. The most time zones in the world. Imagine a land where time seems to bend. The morning sun greets one place, while the calm night still blankets another. That is Russia, the country so vast that it stretches across 9 time zones, a unique phenomenon rare in the world. With an enormous landmass of over 17 million square kilometers, Russia is not only the largest country on the planet, but also stands out for its geographical and time diversity. Spanning 2 continents, Europe and Asia, this landmass is even larger than Pluto, a comparison that will leave you in awe. The 9 time zone system makes Russia a time empire of sorts. When Moscow lights up, people in Vladivostok, over 7,000 km away, are already awake and starting their new day. This is not only a challenge for transportation, economy, and communication, but also part of the unique allure of this country. In 2010, Russia had up to 11 time zones, but in an effort to simplify management and economics, the government merged some of them, reducing it to 9. Despite this, Russia still holds the title of having the most time zones in the world, a title no other country can match. For adventurous travelers, these 9 time zones offer an invitation to explore. You can experience both day and night in a single journey, from the blazing sunlight in Siberia to the legendary white nights in St. Petersburg. Russia truly is a miniature universe where time flows in its own enchanting way. Number 1. The Mir Mine, the destructive hole in Russia. Deep within the Siberian earth lies the Mir diamond mine, one of the most mysterious and fascinating geological wonders that not everyone knows about. With a depth of 525 meters and a diameter of 1,600 meters, Mir was once one of the largest open-pit diamond mines in the world, providing invaluable resources for the Soviet Union and shaping the history of mineral extraction. However, the attraction of Mir comes not only from the sparkling diamonds but also from the pit itself, a deep hole with such a mystical force that even helicopters flying over it couldn't escape. Mir Mine is not just a place filled with diamonds, but also a geological nightmare. Mysterious stories surround the mine, where a powerful magnetic pull once swallowed a helicopter, making people wary of the brutal power of nature in the area. This enormous pit, visible from space, looks like a large scar on the Earth's surface, a reminder of the secrets hidden deep beneath. The Mir Mine is not just a diamond extraction site, but also the setting for tragic and thrilling stories of brave miners who risk their lives to extract this precious resource. Along with these stories, the geological mysteries that have never been solved make the Mir Mine one of the most captivating and dangerous areas in Russia. Russia is truly a land of mysteries and surprises, from strange regulations like banning lace underwear, the story of the single women paradise, to the dark side of the underground world of modern slavery. All of these make Russia both fascinating and challenging for those wanting to explore. Which of these do you find the strangest? Share your thoughts in the comments section, and don't forget to follow the channel for more unique stories from around the world. See you on our next exploration journey.